Born under the same spring sky, separated by oceans, united by fate. A Hollywood heartthrob who became cinema's most unpredictable leading man. A political survivor who rose to lead a nation through crisis. And a cyclist who defied gravity itself, conquering roads that broke everyone else. 3 lives. 3 journeys. One single day that marks their beginning. What is it about May 13th that forges legends from ordinary flesh and bone? Is it coincidence, or something written in the stars themselves? Today, we unravel the threads that connect Robert Pattinson, Scott Morrison, and Marianne Vos, and discover what their shared birthday reveals about destiny. Robert Pattinson was born in London in 1986, a boy who would grow up to challenge everything we thought we knew about fame, beauty, and what it means to be a leading man in Hollywood. His childhood was ordinary in many ways. He grew up in Barnes, a quiet suburb in southwest London, the youngest of 3 children. As a teenager, he found his way into amateur theatre, not because of some burning ambition, but almost by accident. His father suggested he join a local drama club, thinking it might help the shy young man come out of his shell. No one could have predicted what would follow. His early career was modest. A few small roles, a part in a Harry Potter film that gave him his first taste of blockbuster filmmaking. But then came 2008, and everything changed. Twilight swept across the world like a fever, and Robert Pattinson became the face of a generation's romantic fantasies. Millions of young fans screamed his name. His face appeared on bedroom walls across every continent. He was, almost overnight, one of the most famous people on the planet. But here is where his story becomes truly fascinating. Most actors would have embraced such adoration. Pattinson seemed almost uncomfortable with it, openly mocking his own character in interviews, speaking with startling honesty about the absurdity of his sudden fame. There was something refreshingly human about his discomfort, something that set him apart from the polished celebrity machine. And then he made a choice that surprised everyone. Instead of chasing more blockbusters, he retreated into the world of independent cinema. He worked with visionary directors. He took roles that were strange, challenging, sometimes deeply unsettling. Film after film, he proved that beneath the heartthrob exterior lay a serious artist, hungry to explore the darker corners of human experience. His transformation reached its peak when he stepped into the cape and cowl of Batman, bringing a brooding intensity to the iconic character that critics and audiences alike celebrated. It was a triumphant return to mainstream cinema, but on his own terms, as an actor who had earned his place through years of deliberate, thoughtful work. Today, at 40 years old, Robert Pattinson stands as proof that fame need not define you, that an actor can forge their own path even when the world tries to put them in a box. From teenage heartthrob to respected artist, his journey reminds us that reinvention is always possible, that the truest form of success comes not from meeting expectations. Scott Morrison rose from the suburbs of Sydney to become one of Australia's most consequential and controversial leaders, guiding his nation through unprecedented crises while dividing opinion like few prime ministers before him. Born in 1968 in the beachside suburb of Bronte, Morrison grew up in a family steeped in local politics. His father was a police officer who served as mayor of Waverley Council, and from an early age, young Scott absorbed the rhythms of public service and community life. He attended Sydney Boys High School, studied economic geography at university, and found his calling not in academia, but in the rough and tumble world of political strategy. His path to Parliament wound through the tourism industry, where he headed Tourism Australia and launched campaigns that would become etched in the national consciousness. But it was his entry into federal politics in 2007 that set him on a trajectory toward the nation's highest office. Morrison's rise was swift and, at times, ruthless. He served as immigration minister, overseeing controversial border protection policies that drew both fierce criticism and strong support. He became treasurer, managing the nation's finances during a period of global uncertainty. And then, in August 2018, amid the chaos of yet another Liberal Party leadership spill, Scott Morrison emerged as Prime Minister, a result few had predicted. But history had other plans for this accidental leader. Within months of winning the 2019 election, Australia faced a summer of unimaginable horror. Bushfires swept across the continent, burning millions of hectares and claiming dozens of lives. Morrison's response, including a holiday to Hawaii during the crisis, sparked outrage and raised questions about his judgment that would follow him throughout his tenure. Then came the pandemic. COVID-19 transformed Morrison into a crisis manager on a scale no Australian leader had faced since the Second World War. His government's vaccine rollout drew criticism for its slow pace, yet Australia emerged from the pandemic with one of the lowest death rates in the developed world. His time in office ended in May 2022, when voters turned to the Labour Party and Anthony Albanese. Revelation soon followed that Morrison had secretly appointed himself to multiple ministerial portfolios, a constitutional controversy that stunned even his allies and cemented his legacy as a deeply polarising figure. Today, Scott Morrison remains a study in contrasts, a leader who navigated genuine crises yet left office under a cloud of distrust. His story reminds us that in democracy, power is borrowed. She was born in a small Dutch town, in a country where bicycles outnumber people. But from the very beginning, Marianne Vos was destined to be more than just another rider in the peloton. She was destined to become a legend. Growing up in 's-Hertogenbosch, young Marianne first threw her leg over a racing bike at the age of 6. By 8, she was competing. By 15, she was already showing the world that something extraordinary was unfolding. There was a fire in her legs and a determination in her eyes that coaches and competitors alike had never quite seen before. What followed was nothing short of remarkable. World Championships in cyclocross. World Championships on the road. Olympic gold in London. Marianne Vos didn't just compete across multiple disciplines of cycling. She dominated them. She conquered them. At her peak, she held world titles simultaneously in road racing, cyclocross, and track cycling. No one had ever done that before. No one has done it since. But greatness, as it so often does, came with a price. In 2014, her body began to betray her. Chronic fatigue, mysterious illnesses, and injuries that simply would not heal. For nearly 2 years, the world watched as the greatest female cyclist of her generation struggled simply to finish races she once won with ease. Many wondered if her story had reached its final chapter. Yet Marianne Vos refused to let that be her ending. Through patience, through pain, through countless hours of rehabilitation and self-doubt, she rebuilt herself. And when she returned not as a shadow of her former self, but as something perhaps even more inspiring. A champion who had stared into the abyss and chosen to climb back out. The victories continued. Tour de France Femme stage wins. More World Championship medals. Records that seemed untouchable were broken, then broken again. Her palmarès reads like fiction, yet every result is written in the record books, etched into the history of sport itself. Today, at 39 years old, Marianne Vos remains active in professional cycling, still racing against competitors nearly half her age, still crossing finish lines with that unmistakable burst of power. She has won more than 500 races in her career. 500 moments of triumph. 500 reasons why young girls across the Netherlands and beyond now dream of becoming cyclists. Some athletes are remembered for what they won. Marianne Vos will be remembered for what she represents. Resilience. Excellence. The quiet, unshakable belief that the road ahead always holds one more victory. What a journey through 3 remarkable lives today. From Robert Pattinson redefining what it means to be a leading man in Hollywood, to Scott Morrison navigating Australia through unprecedented challenges, to Marianne Vos proving herself as perhaps the greatest female cyclist the world has ever seen. Each of them showed us that success comes in many forms. Now I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 3 do you think has been the most influential and why. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really helps us bring you more stories like these. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you